Hey everybody, my name is Deb Rhymer. This is Music Makers, the show that showcases talented musicians and their original music. And today I'm really pleased to have Los Gringos Locos in the house, which is Al Sabourin and Mike Sampson. And this duo has been together since the year 2000, so you're coming up to your 25th anniversary.
Scary stuff.
They've been featured at numerous festivals, events, you know, bars, restaurants, you name it. A little bit of TV, some airplay on the radio, and everything else in between, including a couple of documentaries, which we might talk about. You've got 3 CDs out, Against the Sky, Places We've Been, and Engage. And happily, we're going to hear some tunes today from some of those albums. So I have to ask you, Los Gringos Locos. Mike, where did that come from?
Well, Al and I met at a jam downtown around about 1999, I think it was. We were introduced by a mutual friend, a guy called Ian Callan. Lovely guy. Anyway, shortly after that, we got together at Ian's house. And Ian played guitar too, and we were sitting around, we were having a lot of fun, and we thought, hey, you know, this might actually go somewhere. And I said, well, what would we call ourselves? And Ian jokingly said, well, what about Los Gringos Locos, the crazy white guys? And I remember saying, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. And of course, it stuck. So that's where the name came from.
You write together, and you also write individually. And the first song, Against the Sky, was written by both of you.
Yes.
Can you tell me anything about that?
Well, Against the Sky is sort of, I think it's about the first, I'd say culmination, if I said that word properly, of Mike and I's styles starting to meld. He mentioned that he would come up with some amazing chord patterns, and they are really good, and made it really easy for me to just sort of sit a melody on top of that. And you'll see that in some of the songs we've written together. And I think that would be about the first one that we did. We'd sort of like that dreamy landscape that you'd hear. And that's basically how that came about. I just kept play it over again and he'd play it over again, and I'd say, play it over again, and then I'd come up with something simple and just let it sit on top of it.
Great, well, I can't wait to hear it, so take it away. So that was great. I see what you're saying about the melody and the chord patterns and how it all comes together. So the next song I know was written by Mike.
Yeah.
Malaga. What does Malaga mean?
Malaga. Malaga is a town in southern Spain.
Oh.
Probably I still have a trace of my English accent, but I grew up in the UK, and for several years I would go back to visit family there, and around about 2006, I think it was, I decided to take a side trip and spent a week in Malaga in southern Spain. And of course that's the whole area of the flamenco and that sort of Spanish influence there. And when I came back, it just suddenly came together. I was messing around with the chords and I came up with the melody, and I think it has that sort of Spanishy, Latin sounding feel to it. So yeah, that's how it came about. It was a very quick process, actually. Sometimes songs take a long time to come together, but that one came together quite quickly. And as usual in these tunes, we trade solos, so there's quite a bit of improvisation. Mm-hmm. Al does a couple of times around, I do once, and I carry the melody, but it's a lot of fun to do. We really enjoyed playing that.
I notice a lot of the songs that you do have a little bit of a Latin sort of influence or feel to it. So great. Well, let's hear Malaga. Thank you.
Thank you.
That was lovely. And now, Al, this is a song that you wrote, Love in Abundance.
Love in abundance. Oh, there's two stories to that.
Tell the truth.
Both of them are lies. And just to go back to Mike's song, Malaga, he left out that it's a place with a lot of semi-nude beaches. So I wonder why he was down there, but I will stop that. Love in abundance. It was a big dilemma for me. I wanted to write a song about my mother and about my wife, and I was, and there's a little, you can see there's a little bit of tension between the two parts. And then I just say, relax and write the darn song. As Mike said, some songs you work on all your life and you never write them. Other songs, 5-10 minutes. That just came out real easy. And it has that little bit of tension of going, where are you going? And then it sort of just relaxes. You can feel the tension release. I couldn't think of a name for it. And I was walking the dog one night down street in Victoria, and there it was, written, spray painted on the sidewalk.
Oh,
Love in abundance.
It was a sign.
It was just spray painted by some kid, and thank you, whoever you are, and that you gave me a song. The other part of that, how I wrote that, I wrote this a long time ago in my head. I knew I had this song. I didn't know what it was going to be about. But as I went and saw John Scofield, and every guitar player was down there watching him. It was amazing just to watch. But then in the middle, he did something very relaxing and broke all the tension. I noticed, wow, the effect it had on everybody. Everybody was getting so intense, and all of a sudden, relaxing again. So those are the two parts of that.
Oh, I'm looking forward to hearing that. So take it away. Another awesome song. And the last song, I guess, was written by both of you. It's called Spiral.
Right. Yeah, I mean, the same sort of idea happened as with Against the Sky. I came up with this sort of the chord pattern, the little finger style, and I played it to Al, and he says, play that again. And then he came up with this melody, and I just said, oh man, that is absolutely perfect. That just fits over it so perfectly. And as with all the songs that we do, particularly the ones where we've written together, it's a collaborative process. We start off with a general idea, and then we talk to each other, and we say, hey, what about this? An idea, why don't we change that there? Can you do this? Can you do that? And after, it evolves until, and in fact, we're still in the process. Even songs that we've been
rewriting.
Even
playing,
tonight.
even today, songs we've been playing for 20 years, we sometimes say, you know what? Let's change that just a little bit there.
To hear.
And it keeps it fresh as well. But yeah, that's the process. It's really a collaboration.
So when you're first doing it, and you're, having these great ideas, are you recording it so that you don't forget?
No.
So you're writing it down, or you just remember next time?
It's all up here.
Oh, geez, that's
all in the
tough.
heart.
Oh, that's tough because, you don't want to lose any great ideas.
That's
So
true.
that's amazing.
Yeah.
And we have lost some great ideas.
We have lost some great
There's
ideas.
a song that Ian wrote called "It's About Time," and we can't find it, and that we can't seem to reproduce it. But hey, we still have time.
We still have time. Hopefully we do.
We like to write sometimes that the music, that somebody who doesn't understand music, when they hear it, they're gonna, it makes me think of going down a ski hill, or makes me think of the first time I stole an orange from the backyard, or something like that. And not just to close your eyes and not just think of chords and notes and stuff. Think of where the music's taking you. So I always say music's about sending love, and we try to throw our little bit in there.
Now, I know that some of your songs were featured on a documentary. So did someone just approach you, or?
Yeah, we got approached twice, one by a friend of ours who works for the Island Health Authority, and he was interested in using part of our repertoire in a documentary that, or I think it was a training program for physicians or something like that. And another gentleman approached us who was doing a film on hummingbirds of all things. And he heard us and said, I'd love to use part of one of your tracks as background on this movie, and would you be open to that? And of course we were just delighted that somebody enjoyed our stuff that much and felt that it would go well with what they were trying to convey as far as the visuals in their documentaries.
Who is your biggest musical influence then?
Well, I guess
Besides each other.
I came up from a classical guitar background, and Al was more of a rock background. But I loved not only classical guitar, but the great English contemporary guitar players like John Renbourn and Martin Simpson, who play traditional and contemporary fingerstyle guitar. I think that's my heritage, if you will.
Right.
And so I think Al's is totally different. Al can talk about his.
I
have an idea.
I grew up, it's not what you're going to think, and my parents played a lot of East Coast Newfoundland music, so that 3/4 thing is sometimes stuck in me. I'll put that over all places where it shouldn't be. And also, too, they had Marty Robbins, some old country and western, in which I don't really play that. Then I discovered rock and roll, and then I discovered my friends started going to Humber Jazz College, and I started discovering jazz and really got a big influence. But mostly, I think it's my openness to anything. Like as you know, it's going to come up, I'm a huge Santana fan, and all that touching the heart stuff. He's a big influence. But also, if you think of Jimmy Page from Led Zeppelin, a lot of that stuff was acoustic. And when I met him, and we were playing mostly blues and rock at this jam, and he said, well, I like John Renbert. I was just, wow, I gotta meet this guy, because that's different. I need to hear different kinds of music, and just blew my mind what he could do with those fingers. I'm almost getting there.
Oh, you're doing really well. Yeah.
Well, you complement each other really well, and we're so thrilled that you were able to join us today and share your music and all the history behind it, and I can't wait to see where you're going next.
Well, thank you so much. It's been a real pleasure for us to be here, and we really appreciate it. Thank you.
Excellent.
Yes.
And I do want to do a little bit of a shout out to John McKenzie, and of course all the wonderful volunteers at Rogers, because without them we would not have the Music Makers Show, and we're very grateful for that. So thank you, and I hope you'll tune in next time.